Hello, this is Jennifer from the Jennifer Maker DIY and Craft blog. Today I'm going to show you how to make a giant flower, specifically a spellbound rose, which I think is one of the most beautiful roses there is. It's a beautiful pink just like this. And the way that I designed this was I went out and I got a real rose. I took off all of its petals, which you can see scattered around here, scanned them all, traced them in my design program, and created this rose. So every petal on this rose is unique and based on an actual rose petal. And I think it turned out just beautiful. So let me explain how you can do this yourself. So you go to my blog at jennifermaker.com, search on Spellbound Rose, and you'll find the tutorial on how to make this along with the free files that you can download to upload to your own cutting machine software. Now I use a Cricut Explorer, so I'm going to be using Cricut Design Space, and I will show you how to upload it. So download the zip file, open up the zip file, go to Cricut Design Space. So you want to click the upload button. You want to go find the file that you downloaded, locate it, add it, and upload it to Cricut Design Space. And once it's uploaded, you're going to want to select it and add it to your canvas. Once you bring it in, you're going to see that it's a big bunch of petals all overlapping each other. I did this on purpose. I've actually designed this file so that you don't have to worry about what size things are, what layer things are on, the arrangement of things, and how to get them to fit properly on the page. It's all done for you. All you need to do is upload it, place it, and click that Make It Now button. And when you do that, it's going to, Cricut Design is going to say, oh, well, these are all the pages that we need to cut, and there's 17 pages in total. You just put your paper on your mat in a landscape format, which means it's wider than it is taller, and you just cut them. It'll cut all of the petals that you need for this project in exactly the right size and exactly the right number. Super easy. Now these are the petals that are going to cut out for you. We've got 8 super large petals, 8 large petals, 8 medium petals, and 6 small petals. And then we also have some rosebud petals in the base. We're going to start with this small petal. We're going to use our hot glue gun, and we're going to put a line of glue right at the edge where it's cut at the bottom. And then we're going to overlap the other edge right over the glue line, and it's going to create a cup shape. And we're going to do this for every petal that we have. We're going to do this before we continue the next step because this is a bit more efficient to do it this way. And it's not difficult to do. This part probably took me about 10 to 15 minutes. You just want to make sure that your glue is sticking, that you're giving it enough time to set. A couple seconds usually is all it needs. My hot glue gun is set to the lowest setting. It does not need to be too high to glue paper at all. And again, just go through, glue every petal at the bottom. This cup shape is very important for creating the three-dimensional look of our rose, so don't skip this. It will not look the same if you don't do this. I also don't recommend liquid glue like tacky glue for this step. Hot glue is definitely better, and the biggest reason is because it's a lot faster and you will never see this glue. I tend not to like to use hot glue if there's any chance that it can be seen, but with this rose, you won't see the glue at all unless you turn it over. Who's going to turn this over, right? So we've got the small, medium, large, and we need to do the super large ones now. Again, there's 8 of these, and we'll just finish this up, and then we'll be ready to move on to the next step. All right, so now it's time to roll all of these petals. So this is a very important step. Again, don't skip this. Real rose petals are not flat and perfectly smooth. They have ragged edges, which I've already cut into them for you. That's the unique petal part of the design. But they also have a dimensionality to the petals themselves, which we can achieve by rolling the edges of them. I found the best thing to roll this size of petal was my Crayola marker. You can use anything that's about this size and is smooth. Whatever works best for you, really. And you can roll the sides or you can roll the top down, which is what you saw me do there. I like to do a variety of different rolling on my petals because that gives it a more realistic look. Real rose petals are different shapes and different sizes and rolled up in different ways as it was blooming. And the more we do that, the more realistic it looks. So just go through all of your petals and roll the edges of all of them. When you get down to the medium and small sizes, you may want to change your marker size or your, the item that you're rolling with. I just kept using this marker. It was fine, but I think it also might work with something a little narrower like a pencil. You can see in a couple of places it didn't quite, the cupping didn't quite take. I had to glue it again, no big deal. So we'll finish that up and we'll be ready for our next step. So now we need to make the rosebud that goes in the center. These two pieces cut out with your pattern, and we're just going to fold them all up together to create the tightly budded rosebud. So put glue on the edges of your petals and fold them fold up two petals that are right across from each other and attach them. So for this very first one, we want to get the rose petals pretty close to each other, not completely touching. I like to do it so that I can fit my finger in there. Then we start adding the other rose petals around it. So for this, again, you're going to want to put glue on the sides of your petal. But when you bring it up, you don't want to bring it up all the way to what the petals that you just did. Give it a little extra space, about a ½ inch, as I'm doing here. And do this for each of the petals as you put them on like this for this rosebud. And that will give you a very pretty rosebud center. Okay, so when we have that, we're going to glue the bottom of this first set of petals and put it onto the second rosebud petal shape. And then we just glue each of the petals and put them right up there. Again, leave a little extra space, not right up against it. You see how a pretty rosebud center is forming here? This is what we want. This is not difficult to do. How tightly you do these petals is really up to you. This is what I found work best. All right, so now we have our rosebud. We're going to set this aside and move on to making the larger flower. We're going to start with our base. This base is 3 inches in diameter, and it's what cuts out with your flower. You can create a larger base, 4 inches, even 5 inches, and that will give you a larger flower because it'll space the petals out a little further from each other. So to attach the petals, we're just going to put a line of hot glue right at the very edge of the underside of our petals, just like this, and start putting them onto our base across from each other. This is important, and I think this gives us a balanced flower. You could try to putting them, 90 degrees from each other as you worked around, but I think that's a little harder to get exactly 90 degrees each time. So I recommend this way. Be careful not to stick your base and your petals to your mat, as I did. Just pull those up before they get too set. And then you just continue going around your flower. Again, you're starting with the super large petals, and you're working your way down to the smaller petals. This is important. The larger petals in a rose are on the outside, and they get smaller as you move inward. So once you've got the first 4 petals down, you're going to put the next 4 at a 45-degree angle from the first set, and then just continue the same thing. The next one will go directly across. The third one will go at a 90-degree angle, and then the fourth one will go across from that. You're filling in all of the gaps, essentially. Follow what I'm doing, and your rose will turn out beautiful. There we go. So these are all of the super large petals, And now we can move on to the large petals, and it's going to work exactly the same way. We're just going to attach them right across from each other, filling in all the gaps. Oops, in this petal here, it didn't quite stick to the base, so we're going to fix that. If you notice this while you're going along, definitely fix it because it'll make for a more stable flower. Alright, so we take our large petals and we do exactly the same thing that we did with the super large ones. We just put them right there in between two petals, and then the next one goes right across from it. And you just continue like this. There'll be four petals on this layer and then 4 petals on the next layer. And I really like this dense petal look that we're creating here. I think it looks a lot more realistic. Sure, it takes a little more time, a little more paper, but the end result is spectacular. If you decide that you don't need so many petals, you can certainly choose to leave some out. If you want the same size rose, you're going to want to make sure you use those super large petals. Otherwise, you could also skip those, and if you want a smaller flower, and just start with the large ones. Feel free to experiment, find out what works best for you. If you're creating dozens of flowers for a wedding or for a backdrop, you may want to find quicker ways to do this. And I would mostly do that by leaving out some petals. It is completely up to you. That's the beauty of doing a craft. You get to personalize it to your needs. All right, so one more. You see how I'm holding it from the back just to make sure there's good pressure. I find that works well for getting those petals to really stick there. You could also just press down really hard on your board, whatever works best for you. All right, so for these medium petals, it's the same idea. There's 8 of them. We put the first one in between 2 of the petals, the next one goes across, and so on and so forth. You can see the rose pattern taking shape now, can't you? It's so pretty. Feel free to roll some petals down as you're going along if you find that it works best. I like to adjust things as I go. It's not always so easy to tell before you assemble something how it will look. All right, so we've got all of our petals except for our small petals put in here. It looks really good, but we still need to get a little bit more density in the center there for it to look like a real rose. So the small petals will work the same way, except that we only have 6. So we're only going to do 4 in the same manner that we've been doing the other petals. And then we'll go right in the center here. You can bring them in a little closer to the center because we want to have that nice full look. All right, so we've got those 4 petals in. Now we have 2 left. Now rather than attaching those to the larger flower, we're going to attach these to the rosebud because at this point it's really quite a bit easier to do that. It also helps us achieve the right look that we want in the center. So just in this case, you're going to want to put the hot glue on the inside of the petal and then attach it to the bottom of the rosebud. You can curl your petals inward, whatever seems to work best. I like the way that they curled inward like this when I attach them to the rosebud. And there we go, we have our rosebud. Now we can put that right into the center of our rose. So put some glue on the bottom, plenty of glue. You're going to want this to stick nice and good. You don't want it falling out on you. And position it where you'd like it on your rose, and then press down well. If you need to, you can put your finger right into the center of that rosebud. You want it to set the glue to set well. And there we go. Feel free to arrange your petals afterwards. Some of them will want to be curled, and now that you can see them all together, you can curl them. And here is our beautiful Spellbound rose. Isn't it lovely? I think that this makes a beautiful centerpiece or decoration for a wall, especially a craft room. Wouldn't that be beautiful? I know that some people also like to use these for photo backdrops and also for decorating for weddings and things like that. So I've had requests for more giant flowers like this, and I would love to make more. If you like them, I will make them. Let me know what kind of flowers you like. Comment in the box below, or let me know over at my blog at jennifermaker.com, and I will make them. Now this rose turned out to be approximately 14 inches. You can make it bigger by using a bigger base. You can make it smaller by using fewer petals. You can also resize things right in Cricut design. As long as you're resizing everything, it should work out just fine. I hope that you enjoyed this video. Please, if you liked it, please click that thumbs up button. Please subscribe to my channel so that you can be notified of new videos when I make them. I try to make at least 1 a week, sometimes 2. Definitely come over to my blog at jennifermaker.com and let me know what you think and give me ideas for future projects. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time.